I remember when I was in college and I got the call that my grandmother had died. I was so devastated. She had got up in the morning, normal routine, went to put water on for her tea, and had a heart attack and died right there on the floor. And I remember at her funeral that the seniors who were her friends and family were coming up and saying, "She looks great. Wow, that's the way to go." They were having these whole conversations about how she died and how great she looked. And I'm thinking, you all are nuts. How rude, how inappropriate. She's dead. She doesn't look good. She's dead. What do you mean, what a great way to go? She dropped dead. None of us got a chance to say goodbye. None of us got to be there for her or even know that this was coming. We had no warning. And now in hindsight, I really understand what they meant. When my grandfather was dying, I remember being at the nursing home, and we had hospice care in there, which was wonderful, and just being there at the end of life, and having worked in hospice, I knew the signs to look for, and I knew that the one day that he was really alert and oriented, and the next day when he was the complete opposite, that we were in the final stages, and so I wasn't going to leave until he was home. And so I stayed with him, and I had the pleasure and blessing of being there. And I know it sounds weird to say a pleasure, but being there in those final moments to say goodbye and say I love you and those whatever words, it really was. It was a pleasure and a blessing to be able to be there. Unfortunately, in the last couple weeks, I've had the unfortunate task of being on death watch. One with one of my dogs, Mimi. She was 14 and she had congestive heart failure, and so she was declining, and there was about a week that my husband and I didn't get much sleep because we were always wondering where she was or what was going on, and she ended up passing away a week ago. We had come home from church and we were outside. It was a beautiful day, and she walked over the corner and she died, and it was very sad. And then this past week, I've been trying to support my father as much as I can because his wife is on hospice and she's at the end of her life. And it started me thinking about the end of someone's life. But more importantly, it started me thinking about that person who's caring for the person at the end of their life. Thankfully, we have hospice in there with her now, which is wonderful. And in the past 24 hours, they now are there on a continuous basis to help ease her pain and get her comfortable, which has been a real blessing for my dad, who hasn't had much sleep in the past several weeks and is very sad and very overwhelmed and very stressed out. I thought about ways that I could share in a video like this, tips to help people like my dad, that person who's caring for that other person. Today, when I was at their house, I answered the phone and one of the relatives was on the line and he said, you know, I wanted to call, but I don't know what to say. So here's my first piece of advice. Making the phone call is enough. You don't need to know what to say. There's no magic words that are going to make things better. There's no right thing to say. The situation sucks. It sucks that she is dying and that my dad is so stressed out. It sucks. It's hard to watch. It's hard to figure out how to help him out. It's hard to figure out how to help her out. But again, we're blessed that hospice is in there helping her out. But just make the call. If there's somebody in your life who is caring for somebody who's dying, first and foremost, make the call. To just say, I don't know what to say. It's okay to say that because they don't know what to say back to you either. So I don't know what to say. I just called to say, I care about you. I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. And if there's anything I can do, let me know. And I really mean that. Also showing up. Saying, hey, I'm going to stop by. Why don't, if you need to run to the store or run some errands, I'll just be there so that you can go. That's a great gift to give somebody. Instead of running errands for them, they really need a break. They maybe want to get out. They say no, say, okay, well, I'm just going to show up just to be there. Now, a lot of people think that at the end of somebody's life, they don't know what's going on. And we don't know if they do or don't, but I can tell you They probably do. So going in and talking to that person who's dying is also a wonderful gift to be able to just say how you feel about them. But taking care of that caregiver, just sitting there. Again, you don't have to have the right words to say. Just show up. Bringing them some food. They probably have not had a chance in recent days or weeks to go and really get some food. So bringing them food is a real big help. Making it something that they can quickly heat up and eat, and that's nutritious. And also something, if that person who's dying is still able to eat, that you can cut into very small pieces because they can't eat as much as they used to be able to eat, and it's very tiring. So make the call, show up, bring food, and just be there. That's a really big gift for somebody who is caring for a person who's dying. I also want you to remember that after that person dies, it's not over for that caregiver. The grieving process can go on and on. There are people that died almost 20 years ago. I still miss them. I still think about them. My journey of grieving has changed, but they're still there with me. That sadness is still there. So think about anniversaries that they won't get to celebrate together, birthdays. On those days, maybe show up, send a card, make a phone call to let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you. I know today's probably going to be a rough day because it would have been your anniversary, or it's a rough day because it would have been Helen's birthday. So do that follow-up. Put a notation on your calendar. I know that we get really busy in life, but we're here to journey through life together. And those are just some real simple things that we can do to help care for those who are caring for people who are dying, which also helps that person who's dying, because what they want most of all is to make sure the person who's caring for them is taken care of too. Thank you so much for all you do every day. And if today is that day that you're going to make the call, just make it. Feel free from the fact that you need to have the right words, because it sucks and there are no right words. So just make the call. Tell somebody you care about them. Don't take people for granted. Don't take life for granted. It's short, so show up. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.